Hey, what's up guys? Joker here. It is 5 o'clock in the morning here in New Jersey. The crickets are chirping outside, and I've got my Mad Max performance review rendering right behind me. And here we are now talking about Metal Gear Solid 5 for my performance review on that. If you guys haven't been paying attention, in the recent weeks I've been covering the game because I am a huge fan of the Metal Gear series. I have been looking forward to this game for so long, ever since Guns of the Patriots. This is one of my favorite series of all time. Really, Metal Gear Solid in general, the series, has really shaped my opinion on games more than any other series I think that I've ever played. It really set me on a path, into how I perceive games and looking at things like graphics and storytelling, because when they came along with like MGS 2 and the way that that was presented with all the amazing cutscenes done by Hideo Kojima, it really just, it was the first time I ever saw anything like that, and it completely changed my life in the way that I look at games and the way I play games. And ever since then, I've kind of been looking for that. So to get a new MGS game, and let alone have it come out on the PC, which is something I didn't think would happen, and when they did announce it was coming to PC, I was super excited, as I'm a hardcore PC player now. But enough rambling on with that. I'm just trying to nerd out over MGS 5 because I just love the series. But we're going to go ahead now and jump into the options menu and take a look at what's going on there, and then we'll come back, talk about the performance numbers, the frame rates at what I'm getting on the 980 Ti's, as well as the 970 over in the Skylake test rig at 1080p and 1440. So let's switch over to the options now. Alright, here we are now, guys, in the menus for Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain. Let's not waste any time. Let's jump straight into those options. Up here you can see we have select control type. This is just for gamepad concern. I'm playing with mouse and keyboard, so I'm not really concerned with this. But control type, you can switch between action type or shooter type, so it just remaps some of the buttons there on the controller. No custom remapping for the controllers as far as changing individual buttons, just like on Mad Max, unfortunately, so that really sucks if you are a controller user that you can't do that. For controller settings, we do have auto-aim correction, so that's really something for controllers and controller plebs that use controllers to aim weapons. Yeah, if you need auto-aim, basically, you're probably playing with a controller, so if you're not, turn that off. Using mouse and keyboard, so I've got it off. Keep aim viewpoint off as well. Switching while readying a weapon. You could do this on 2-slot or 3 slots so that you can have it so you have a set amount of weapons for your quick switching, like if you're doing a dive or something like that. So you could switch either 2 weapons or 3 weapons, so it's nice to see that level of customization there for that. Definitely something worth considering. Call commands, you can do your call button or the right stick. I have a call button because I am playing mouse and keyboard. Horse controls have normal or radio control. I'm honestly not sure what this radio control is. I'm going to have to do some more research on this and get back to you guys in the final review because I really don't know what that is. Vibration on or off, that would be more for a controller. And finally, you can customize your mouse sensitivity. Coming down to camera settings, they do have the camera X and Y axis in here that you could set between normal or reverse. So if you want to have those inverted, you can. And then 4 different settings in here for all the different camera speeds. That's really nice to see that level of customization for all the different ways of using the camera, whether you're in FPS or over the shoulder in the TPS. Or speed mode. And then finally, camera shake, you can turn that on or off. I haven't really noticed any issues with it being on that are bothering me, so I've chosen to leave it on so far, but that might change in the future. We'll have to see. Coming down to display settings, we have your language selection. You can go English, French, Italian, German, Spanish, Portuguese, Russian. There are a lot of languages in here. Oh, and Japanese, of course. Subtitle display, foreign only. That's what I've got it set to. Score display, these are all basically different HUD options that you can customize, like for your reticle, your marker, enemy presence, things like that. So if you want to customize your HUD and maybe get rid of some of these elements for more immersion, then you could definitely do that if you want to, and I might play with those a little bit later on and see how I find it for myself personally. Coming into sound settings, they just have the soundtrack volume and audio guidance in here, which controls your iDroid audio in the game. No custom settings in here. Different sliders for all the for like music and voice, SFX. No options for headphones and speakers and surround and things like that. So that's really disappointing. That is a strike against them, in my opinion, for the audio options. I'm not pleased with that audio option menu at all. Coming down to the game settings, you can put on a chicken hat if you want. Yeah, that's a weird one, but definitely fits in with Kojima, I guess. He's always been kind of an odd duck. Huh? See? Chicken, duck, see what I did there? And Reflex Mode, which is one of the first things I instantly turned off. This is basically something where if you get into danger, the game would essentially slow down and put you in slow-mo so you have a chance of getting out of it. I'm sorry, like, That is not Metal Gear Solid. Metal Gear Solid is you get caught, it's doo-doo, and then you probably die because they're just going to spray you in the face with a machine gun. And that's basically how Metal Gear Solid is supposed to go. So we turn Reflex Mode off here at Joker Productions personally. But you could do whatever you want. Although if you put Reflex Mode on, just know that I'm probably going to hate you. Just a little bit. Coming down, we do have a screen brightness adjustment option. And then the granddaddy of them all, the graphics settings. You can set between borderless, full screen, windowed, or full screen. I will be playing on full screen. It just went to borderless, I guess, because I had alt-tabbed out before. But full screen, and I got it set to 1440 here, but there is support all the way up to 4K. You could change your display on the fly in the menu here. That's something I love to see. Vertical sync, you can turn it on or off, although to be honest, it's going to be capped at 60 FPS no matter what, even if you're running a 144 Hz display. I'll touch on that more after we get done with the options menu, but yeah, unfortunately, this game is capped at 60 frames. Frame rate, you can set it to auto or a 30 FPS lock. I don't know why you would want to do that. Motion blur. I actually have it on high in this game because I trust Kojima, because I've seen what he can do as far as cinematics are concerned, so I'm going to trust him with some of the settings like depth of field and motion blur that I might not usually like, because I trust him to be able to tell a story with the way he uses cinematics in a game. So I'm leaving it on because I trust him to use it appropriately, and we'll see how it goes. Depth of field, that's another one of those things. I'm just going to enable it because I know the way he uses camera angles and stuff, and he does it when he uses depth of field, he uses it correctly. So it's not one of these, I feel like it's going to be like an overused thing where it's just thrown in there and it's not really calculated correctly. I feel like when it's used, it's going to be used very deliberately and for a reason, so I'm leaving that on. Model detail, these are all just go up to extra high, and I've got everything at the highest setting. Model detail, textures, texture filtering, shadows, lighting, post-processing, effect, ambient occlusion, and volumetric clouds. The one thing that's just missing in here first off that you might notice is there's absolutely no anti-aliasing option. There's no on, there's no off, there's no sliders, there's no different modes, so that's not great. There is a decent amount of options in here, but there are things like the anti-aliasing that are missing, which is just plain weird. Why is that missing? I don't know. I don't get it. Come on, guys. Like, it's 2015. I know it's a console game, and we're kind of just lucky to even have it on PC, and I'm happy to have it on PC. But you should really have an anti-aliasing option. Let's see. No, I don't want to change that now. Cancel. Get out of there. Yes, cancel it. Get out. And then finally, key assignments. You can remap all of your keys. So if you want to remap anything, you just come down, click on it, enter, and then remap it to whatever you want. So you can remap all the different keys on the keyboard, and that's going to really wrap it up for the options menu. So let's go ahead and jump back in and talk about some of the performance on Metal Gear Solid 5. All right, so we got to look at the options there, which is a fairly robust options menu. I'm glad to see that. Unfortunately, we do have that 60 FPS cap to worry about on this game, just like they had back on Ground Zeroes. That's definitely a concern for me as a 144 Hz user, and I can't really give Konami or Kojima a pass on that as far as the PC port is concerned. If I was giving a score, that would definitely be some marks off for the quality of the PC port. Besides that, though, the performance is rock solid at that 60 frames. I mean, in all of my testing at 1080p, 1440 on 980 Ti, 980 Ti is an SLI, and the single 970, it did not budge off of 60 frames with every single setting turned up to the highest that you could possibly put it. Like I said, at 1080p and 1440, so 970, absolutely no issues running this game. At 1440, I'm seeing around 2.2 to 2.5 gigabytes of video memory being used. At 1080p, it's more around like 2 gigabytes. So if you're running like a 2 gigabyte card out there, you're probably going to be just fine running this game. Maybe you might have to tweak an option, but I doubt it. I think you'll be just fine. It is, like I said, it is a console game ported over to PC, and they really haven't done anything super spectacular with how the graphics and stuff look like that. They've really just kind of allowed us to have like higher resolution and things like that. The textures in the game aren't incredibly impressive. A lot of the visual elements in the game aren't very impressive at all, But when you look at it as an entire package, it does wind up looking really good in some way. It's just when you look at the single individual elements, you're like, that doesn't look great, that doesn't look great. It kind of looks like, almost like a previous gen DirectX 9 game in a lot of respects when you look at those smaller elements. But as a whole package, it is a very visually striking game, mostly due to the fact of Kojima's really, excellent way of presenting it in a cinematic way. And by cinematic, I don't mean 24 FPS Until Dawn and Evil Within. I don't mean 24 FPS or 30 FPS cinematic. No, I mean in the way that the cutscenes are shown and shot. The editing is absolutely fantastic in the game, and all the camera angles and everything like that looks so good. It's like watching a Hollywood movie, and it's really no change to what's been around in the franchise for quite a long time. Kojima is just a master at being able to tell a story and being able to show that in the way that the video is all put together, and it's just truly stunning. Even being able to, look past some of those things like, oh, I look at a texture, I'm like, it's really not that great. But when you look at the whole image of the cutscene, you're just like, wow, this is just really striking, and it just makes it, as my processing finishes back there, it makes me appreciate this series more than anything else, because just playing this for a few hours to get this performance review done, it's just looking at that and looking at Mad Max that I had just played, and I'm just like, wow, why aren't other AAA titles up to the same level of standards as what Metal Gear Solid 5 is from Kojima? Because it's the storytelling and the visuals and everything like that, the way it's all put together is just so fucking good, and it's just priceless. So despite being capped at 60 FPS and not having like amazing textures and things, it's still a really good solid PC port as far as just overall performance is concerned. It runs smooth. I don't think anyone's going to have a negative experience as far as the port is concerned, unless you're a really serious stickler and you're just like looking for things to complain about, which is kind of what I do. That's my job, and I'm willing to look past it because the game is so incredible that I can already tell in just a few hours playing it, and I'm looking forward to playing it for many hours more and really just powering through this game and getting it over and done with. But I'm going to go ahead and get out of here now, guys. It's been a long night. Keep an eye out during the week for streams of Mad Max and MGS 5, and I'll catch you guys next time. Ta-ra.